taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, you ain't seen anything.
Hey everybody, how we doing? John Anthony, Chairshot Sports, a Sport Coin affiliate. How's everyone doing? What a SmackDown we just watched. The fifth man has been revealed for the OG Bloodline. Very excited. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about this by myself. We got plenty of people I want to talk about. My boy, Big Mike McCarthy from the Run In Podcast. Mike, how's it going?
What's going on, man? I'm excited. Big night.
I'm pumped, man. We just talked about this a couple days before coming on air. I had a whole thing planned, doing a whole episode in a couple days. I knew it was going to be Punk, man. I had an inkling it might be Lesnar, but I knew it was going to be someone like Punk, and it was. What are your thoughts?
Man, my thoughts, I feel validated, man. I posted something like almost 2 weeks ago on Twitter saying that, hear me out. He's the original Paul Heyman guy is CM Punk. He's the one that coined the term being a Paul Heyman guy. You had the interaction with him in the new Bloodline earlier this year when Paul Heyman was going through it and he was begging Punk to take him back to Raw with him because he was so afraid of the Bloodline, and Cody Rhodes had to come out and make the save. That whole interaction in Chicago, we kind of forget about it because that's the night that, Drew McIntyre kind of murdered him in Chicago. So a lot of people forgot about that. But I mean, it was in the back of my head and I'm like, it just makes too much sense to not be Punk. So yeah, I mean, I've been waiting on it, and I was pumped.
I freaked out. That's I marked out. I looked at her. I was like, "Well, they have a monster, so maybe they're gonna get a beast." She's like, "No, not Brock." And then as soon as he came on, I went, "Maybe it is gonna be Punk." And then the hits, and I marked out. It was awesome, man. I love to see it. It is funny though. I was looking a little bit of the initial reactions on Twitter right now, and we could talk about this. They're saying, "How does this make sense? Make it make sense of just throwing Punk in as the fifth guy?" And you just touched on that. He's an OG Paul Heyman guy. And not for nothing, too, if they do pull off the trick and they get the win and Punk is successful, now he's able to put down Bronson Reed. It's one more to Seth Rollins where he looks at Punk and goes, this guy just pisses me off. I feel like that's kind of what they're doing to kind of segue this all, is obviously everything counts, and weaving the story in and out to the Bloodline, but making it make sense with Punk joining the group.
Yeah, and I even said when I initially, when I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, this was before Bronson Reed joined the new Bloodline, to tell you how long ago I said it, because I thought that Paul Heyman would bring in CM Punk as soon as they announced it was 5-on-5 instead of 4-on-4. I was like, okay, Heyman brings in Punk, the OG Paul Heyman guy. He's family to Punk. They put Heyman through the table. It makes sense for him to start. So who does Solo get at that point? And Seth Rollins hates Roman Reigns, hates CM Punk. It would make perfect sense for him to join Solo. And this was right around the same time that Seth Rollins did that interview where he said, well, there's not enough heels in WWE right now. There's a shortage of heels. And what better way to bring another heel in to make Seth Rollins one of the biggest heels you have in the past 10 years? Let him go heel again, join Solo's team to face off against the two people he hates the most in this world, according to him, in Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Now, obviously, that it didn't happen completely the way I wanted it to, because they got Bronson Reed. You never don't know what happens on Monday. Maybe something changes. Maybe Seth Rollins comes out and says, I want this spot, and attacks Bronson Reed with a chair or something. Who knows? But it's made sense from day one. As soon as they announced 5-on-5, I didn't know of anyone else that they could pick that it couldn't be Punk.
No, I agree. It's when he came out, it was one of two. Like you see Brock with the monster, with the beast, like I said, and then it was just like with Punk coming out, it makes more sense. And I looked in like the deeper part of it where now they're going to get the win. He can look and go, well, I got the job done. I beat him. What are you doing? And it's just going to build that Punk Rollins feud down the road.
Too, I was so excited of further happening. I didn't realize until I was scrolling through Twitter, the interaction between Punk and Roman is the show and all.
Yeah.
Where Punk said, it's not about me and you, it's about Paul Heyman. And then Roman Reigns apparently says, well, he's my wise man. And CM Punk suddenly goes, we'll see about that.
And then literally
that's sowing those seeds.
That's the shot they have where Paul's like behind, like on the ropes, hanging between the two of them. That was an awesome pick to have, because that's going to speak volumes for the next couple months, I think, going forward. Going to be awesome. But like, so now the teams are set. Now we know who's going to play ball. And when we get into War Games next Saturday, you and me are getting together next week. We're going to talk about predictions as far as all the other matches as well. A little preview of that. Don't want to go too much into a lot of the matches or anything like that. But as far as like the War Games match now with the OG Bloodline, the Bloodline 2.0, do you have any thoughts or any theories as far as the Sammy Gate kind of thing going on? When they showed him in the back, looking at the TV, looks down his phone and tosses it real quick. Do you think we're looking at a mole here? Do we have someone where he kind of just turns on Roman because not for anything for Solo, but just personally costed this match? Or do you think that has something to do with it plays into War Games on next Saturday?
I think it could. Just because of the history they have. Sammy's always been one of those deeper thinkers than most people on the roster. He tends to do a lot of that. So I could easily see him trying to do something like that. But with Punk being on this team now and Roman and everybody else, I'll wait till next week to make official predictions. But it's going to be hard to go against that team now. Even it would have to be something like Sammy turns and hits Roman just as at a revenge or something like that. Because straight up 5-on-5, and even with Jacob Fatu and Bronson Reed on the other side, two of the biggest monsters you have in WWE right now. I don't know how you're beating the super team of Punk and Roman. So, but again, I mean, I've got a few days to think about it until official predictions come out next week. So, but definitely, I could definitely see Sammy those gears turning.
Right. And also too, aside from like some matches that are going down like at War Games on Survivor Series, what are your thoughts on the Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano dichotomy right now? Like, kind of what's going on with that? Because I feel like Ciampa has always never gotten that true solo run after he came up from NXT. Had a banger theme, had a good run, but just never really took off. Got injured. I feel like he came back. Johnny came back to the company after leaving for a while. If he had his children, this and that. Do you think now's the time, kind of the pull? Obviously, what they're playing on TV right now is to pull the band-aid off of that and kind of have Ciampa go on his own run as a massive heel like he was in NXT. Have that character up here in the main roster. And can he get over?
I think he can, just because of how good he was in NXT as that character. But right now, I mean, where does he fit in as a singles competitor? One, the tag team division over there is not that strong. There's not a ton of teams. I mean, you've got the Street Profits. They just buried Pretty Deadly just to get Ciampa over as the heel that he's going through now.
It's a shame.
You've got Waller and Theory, who tease breaking up every other day. So there's not a ton of really good established tag teams over there already. I don't know that you want to break up one of them in order to do that. I think you could turn them heel, and the Street Profits, by the way, could both, Gargano could reluctantly become heel and be really good opponents for the Motor City Machine Guns. I think ultimately maybe, and again, I don't know when the match is happening. I would say that the Street Profits probably need to dethrone them eventually in that dichotomy of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe you do that. I know they've talked about bringing Metaphor up, so I don't know if you're going to put Noam Dar and or Mensa as a tag team. That would at least give you something else, a new tag team coming up,
some fresh faces.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to do something, which they're going to expand the roster anyway when they go to 3 hours in January. So we're only, good Lord, we're only a month and a half away, less than a month and a half away from January. So
yeah, I know. I can't believe
that's coming up.
Sorry, almost December. I can't believe it.
Exactly. But so, yeah, I mean, I would wait a little while. You could tease a little bit more. And Triple H is notorious for this since he's taken over, that he's slow burning a lot. So eventually, yes, but right now they need to stay together. Let them go through their stuff. You don't need the quick turn at the end of the show like you did in NXT, because then it's just a copy and paste situation, and everybody's going to call it out for what it is.
Mm-hmm. I think Ciampa and Gargano turning heel again reluctantly, where Gargano's like, all right, I guess we got to do this. Let's do it. It's kind of funny you bring up the Motor City Machine Guns too. I'm pumped for them. I've been following them for years. I'm so glad they're finally here. We're doing this on SmackDown. I feel like they're flat. And not for them. I feel like the crowd is like, meh, cool. I mean, I just don't know. Like, I get to try to insert them in a lot of storylines, get them over, get them credibility, get them like with the fans. I just what are your thoughts so far with Motor City Machine Guns? It's only been about maybe a month now since they made their debut, and then like obviously in ring they're amazing. Just what are your thoughts, maybe like what they've done so far, what we can do in the future, maybe to kind of build them up moving into 2025 Royal Rumble WrestleMania season?
I think just putting them in great matches. I mean, I agree with you. They have kind of been flat in the audience,
Yeah.
which lends it to what a lot of the IWC says about WWE fans, that they don't watch anything other than WWE. So
Nope.
they didn't really know who the Motor City Machine Guns are coming in. Obviously, we do, because I know I won't call you a wrestling nerd, but I'm a big wrestling nerd. I watch all of it. Watch all that
I'm
I
watching
can.
all of it, man.
Yeah. So I mean,
say
I
prayers for
know.
my wife, man. Every day there's wrestling in this house.
Yeah. So I know who they are, but I would tend to agree that the casual WWE fan isn't necessarily a hardcore wrestling fan. They're more of what WWE puts out, so they don't really know who they are. Um, so I think putting them in great matches, showing them what they can do, that they are one of the greatest tag teams on the face of the earth, it will build. And a lot of stuff that they're going to do with them, especially turning the Street Profits heel to give them, which they've needed for a while as well, to give them something different. If Gargano follows Ciampa down this dark path and turns heel, they will have banger matches again. But yeah, I mean that's really it. Just show them what they can do. They will get the same pop eventually that they get everywhere else, because they're just that damn good.
No, I agree. They're awesome. If you watch that in-ring work, like they're awesome at what they do. Wherever they've gone, they've been amazing.
Yeah.
One other thing I'll talk about before we kind of like, I don't want to get into predictions and stuff like that, but like one thing I want to talk about was the backstage segment between Rhodes and Mello. Love this. Given the job, you got to reassess your number one pick. Is this kind of like, I feel like Mello obviously has best of 7, like they're doing the whole thing with that. Kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit with his call up, and obviously coming in this time of year, we're getting on the road to WrestleMania. He's obviously going to be in the Rumble. What are your thoughts on Mello so far, being on the main roster? Like, I mean, he's done a great job. He's obviously a great athlete, but just kind of doing the same match over and over and over against Andrade, and kind of just not really doing a lot. What are your thoughts so far on how they're using him? And what are your thoughts for the future?
I mean, I could see him and Andrade wrestle 100 times and be okay with it, because I mean, they're both that great.
They go.
I think it shows a lot what the company thinks about him. Because they put him with Andrade, who had just come back, who was a well-known, established WWE star when he was here the first time, went somewhere else, made an even bigger name, came back. He's been he faced Cody Rhodes on his first night, so you put him with the top guy the first night. Then he's around the U.S. title picture with LA Knight, one of the biggest stars in the company. He plays a very good antagonist. He's kind of one of those guys, like I would say, like The Miz, maybe not on that level yet, obviously, because The Miz has been doing it forever. But he's one of those guys that people will love to hate. He's got that kind of confidence about him that you look at him and you just maybe think he's a dick, just because he's confident enough.
Because he's really a dick.
Exactly. And it's one of those, like, I didn't really like it when they turned him face in NXT. I loved the heel character there.
It was horrible. He needs to stay heel. He's one of those guys where like they turn him face, you're like, it's like Randy Orton. I love to watch you face. Please turn heel, please.
Yeah.
Like we're begging for it.
I've said the same thing about Kevin Owens. I think I may have said it. I think I may have been on Nick Beasley's show. Kevin Owens is a good babyface.
Oh,
Kevin Owens is a great heel.
No, I agree.
There is no comparison.
I feel like it's going to turn into a SmackDown review. I feel like, can we talk about that? Can we talk about that promo? I wanted to run through a fucking wall, dude. Like that. Yeah. That I haven't seen that from Cody and Salt. And it was so good with KO and Cody with that promo. Those guys slapped and they killed it. That was an amazing promo between the two of them. Man, that was probably the best part of SmackDown tonight. It was awesome. Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait to see that match whenever it's going to happen. I feel like it's going to be at a Saturday Night Main Event, because I know they want to stack that pretty hard. But I'm just that promo was fine.
Yeah, I mean that's the Kevin Owens I've been wanting forever.
It was awesome.
And I love the fact that it's bringing more of and they've been trying to do this for months. Slight things that they've done with Cody Rhodes to give him more of an edge, so he's just not the clean cut, all shucks kind of good guy that he started
Yes.
out to be. They're
Yes.
trying to give him a little bit more. I don't think they're going to turn him heel. So, internet, don't go crazy thinking I'm saying that.
Well, I think he said
I
that.
think,
He's like, I'll never really go heel, but I'll
Yeah.
be like that borderline, like I'll still be an a-hole, but I'm still a good guy kind of thing. Like
exactly, the smart ass, kind of what Kevin Owens is when he's a babyface, kind of what Stone Cold Steve Austin was, where
yes.
he's got a little bit of an edge to him. He may pull out a chair and beat your ass with it, but he's still the good guy in the long run. And they've needed to do that because it was getting old with the same promo every week. It's about my dad. I did this for the Dream, Dusty Rhodes, to finish my story. And he even mentioned it. KO mentioned it in the promo. Yeah, we're tired of that. We don't want to hear about your story anymore. You're the champ now. We need something a little. We need some layers. And they've added that since WrestleMania, and that has been really great to see the addition to his character.
No, I think it's great what they're doing. It's going to bode good for him moving forward, especially into next year WrestleMania. Who knows what's going to happen? But then moving forward into 2025 too. Last thing I'll ask you, because apparently it's a SmackDown review: who attacked Jade Cargill? Your thoughts or opinions or theories?
So this one, I'm not. This is probably the one part of SmackDown that I'm least sure about. And
Same.
Chris, I see your question in the comments there. We appreciate that. I don't know. It could be anybody. I'll tell you who I want it to be. If I'm fantasy booking it down the line, I would like it to be Bianca. And this is the kickoff
that's
point to the heel
deep.
turn.
That's deep.
Because they've had a couple of little face-offs in their last matches where they've looked at each other. If you notice, the last one they did, maybe it was at Crown Jewel, when Bianca got the pin, her and Jade shot looks at each other that they caught on camera, and we've seen nothing Triple H does on camera is by mistake in these days.
Correct.
They sent each other looks that was like, yeah, I got that pin, not you. To where it was a little bit of animosity between them. I mean, but it could have been Bayley trying to get into the picture because they've been shunning Bayley, which, again, I said this on my show last night. How in the world are we okay as wrestling fans with Io Sky being in this War Games match and not Bayley? Why is Bianca okay with that? They were both in Damage Control, but she hates Bayley and refuses to do anything and even talk to Bayley. But she's just okay high-fiving and dancing with Io Sky with no explanation whatsoever. That never, more than anything else they've done for this build-up, that didn't make sense to me. Like, we're just supposed to forget that Io Sky was the number 2 and now the leader of Damage Control, which is the faction that you hated, and the whole reason you don't like Bayley in the first place. Come on, guys.
It's like,
so it could have been anybody, really. Yeah.
So if Jade's out,
I'm from Alabama, but I'm smarter than that.
And shout out, I didn't see the question, but thank you to Carissa. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Same one I brought up. Thank you so much. So here's the question too, though. If she's out, right? I'm sure you saw it too. A lot of people have been talking about it on the internet, the Charlotte Flair kind of return promo, breaking the ice, coming through. I think it's a little too early for her. Who replaces Jade then in the War Games?
And that's the only reason I wouldn't think it would be Bianca, is because I think the only person that makes sense is Bayley.
That's what I was going to say.
Charlotte Flair, Charlotte Flair doesn't make sense in this spot.
Mm-hmm.
They can keep those vignettes going with the glass breaking or the ice, whatever. It almost looks like a diamond. Queen Charlotte, all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They can keep that going until maybe Netflix, and maybe she comes back on Netflix, or maybe the Rumble. She doesn't need to come back here. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Maybe if she had come back instead of Rhea and taken that spot where she's going up against and on the heel team, by the way, because again, I want Charlotte Flair as a heel. Kind of the same thing we talked about with Kevin Owens and stuff like that. She's 10 times better as a heel than she is.
So much. When she's a face, it's so forced. Like, she's just a natural heel, man. Like, she needs to stick with that.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it needs to be Bayley, which is the only wrench that it throws in my fantasy booking of it being Bianca, because I don't know that Bianca would do that and put Bayley on the team with the entire history that they've shown between those two. So that's the only thing I would think makes me question whether it would have actually been her or not. But that's the only person that makes sense is Bailey.
Right. No, I agree too, because it was funny that those two were outside the ambulance when Bianca was trying to get in there. She's like, "It's my friend. Don't worry about it. It's not you. I got this. I'm getting in." And I was like, again, everything counts. Everything matters on camera.
Well, and Rhea Ripley helping her up after the beatdown segment when they were in the ring, and Rhea Ripley comes up, makes the save. You know, you had Naomi going over to help Io Sky up. Well, Rhea Ripley goes up, extends the hand out to Bailey, and helps her up, get off the mat, and kind of gave her a little arm hug. So they've planted those seeds too. So that one's the bigger that one's the biggest question. I mean, they may just go ahead and bring Jade back. I mean, she crashed into a car. How many times have we seen that this year? People getting crashed into a car and then being back the next week.
Yeah, the back.
You've seen Braun Strowman do it. You've seen Bronson. Yeah,
Bronson Reed. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and she's that for the women's division. She is that monster that you would equate to a Bronson Reed or a Braun Strowman of the women's division, just because she's so much bigger and powerful than everybody. She would be the one that can take that and still come back and be in War Games in a week and a half and make a triumphant return, and everybody would just cheer even better. So I actually don't think anybody replaces her. I think she actually makes that triumphant return just to kind of pop her being an even bigger face and coming back from that adversity to make the win. Or to be
I agree.
Team, not necessarily.
No, I agree. If anyone can pull it off, it's her. And she's probably one of the biggest people that we just talked about with a couple other people. Jade Cargill heel needs to happen. Like that's a monster that I don't think WWE Universe is ready for, because she is going to pull it off like 100,000% that no one is even ready for. She's going to do it, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm pumped for that.
I've said that from day one. I've wanted her to be a heel because her style, lends her to be a heel more than a babyface. I would much rather see her ground. I don't want to see her jumping off the top rope. I don't want to see her doing springboards. It's great that she can do it. I want to see her ground and pound and just beat the crap out of people.
Yeah.
So I've wanted that for a while now too.
No, that's what I fell in love with in AEW when she came over here. Obviously, they paired her with Bianca. Got to get her in with the universe, things like that. But like once she gets her feet under her and she finally goes on the singles and goes heel, the sky's the limit. She's going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's why I've never understood. Everybody's like, well, does Bianca turn heel on Jade, or you gotta have Jade turn heel there? Bianca's too much of a face.
Don't get me wrong though. Bianca could definitely use a heel run. Don't get me wrong. I know she's faced for days, but to see her as a heel that'd be some fresh stuff.
Well, I mean, we saw it in NXT. She was an awesome heel in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it would be great, but out of the two of those, it should be Jade.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to be Jade right now because it's going to be awesome. People are going to tune in for it. It's a familiarity for a lot of people. Like, oh, this is that bad bitch from AEW who's going to come in here and kick everyone's ass. Like, that's going to be good. So,
exactly.
Awesome. So we covered Punk. We covered SmackDown. Awesome. Thank you so much for jumping in.
All of SmackDown.
Right. I want to jump in and talk about it because it was awesome to see. I'm excited that now both teams are set. War Games could be awesome. You and me are jumping in next Monday. We're gonna have some conversations about our predictions for next Saturday. So for everyone watching, where can we find you that aren't familiar?
At _Big Mike 27 on X. You can search that on YouTube or at the Run In Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. We are on a push to get 100 subscribers by the year 2025. I am currently at 89. We've picked up 4 more today, so we're in a big push there. So if you see this, you like anything I said, please go out and check us out at _Big Mike 27 on YouTube. Give me a subscribe. Should throw some likes on some videos. Help us out. We really want to get to 25, get to 100 likes or subscribers. It's late. I forgot how to talk now. 100 subscribers by the year 2025. So any help would be grateful. I appreciate it. And pretty much everywhere else on social media at _Big Mike 27.
Awesome. Always a pleasure. Obviously, you guys are watching me. It's Chair Shot Sports on YouTube, Instagram, on Facebook, also on X. And if you guys aren't following this man, go follow him. There's no way that I have 100 or something. He doesn't have this man needs 100. Go follow him weekly, putting out content, amazing stuff. Go follow this man. Please do me a favor. Do it. So awesome. But Mike, thank you so much, man. Jumping in late. I know there's a lot of stuff that happened on SmackDown. I want to talk about it. So Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to our show on Monday.
Yes, sir. Have a great weekend.
All right, guys. Everyone have a good night. Thank you.